Greetings, people who thought I'd ride off into the sunset and never be seen again. I thought maybe I'd just do an easy song today, something simple, nothing real heavy, and kind of try to have fun with this. First, I wanted to say that when I post songs, I generally, in the description box below the video, I list the chords. I try to list the chords and give helpful hints. But one thing I can't do, if you look at this instruction book, I don't know if you can see it, but when they denote counterbasses, they put a line under the number. You see, that tells you that it's a counterbass. But when I post the chords in the description box below the video, I can't underline. So I can't denote counterbasses by underlining them. So I just have to try to let you know it's a counterbass by writing out the word counterbass. I wanted to tell you that. And these are the books I used when I was a child. This is the Palmer Hughes accordion course. I took a few years of lessons when I was a child, and I used these books, and I really liked them. I still have the first 6 books. I don't have the other ones. I don't know what happened to them. Okay, today we want to look at the song called Over the Rainbow. Now the lyrics are a little silly, but the song is beautiful. The song is beautiful. When the two guys wrote the song, they were probably in kind of a very effeminate mood, but the music for it is beautiful, and Judy Garland did a great job on this song. So we're going to go over the chords of the verse first. The first chord is a C major. You should know that. The next chord is an A minor 7. I hope I'm saying this right, because all I can do is see this on my little tiny phone. I have an old phone and the screen is tiny. So I use the A counterbass and the C major chord button for that A minor 7. I'll try to speak correctly. If not, I'll make a note of it in the description box. I'll say, oh, I screwed up again. Here's the E minor 7 with the E counterbass and the G major chord button. Then I do this F chord with the G bass. That's the G bass and the F major chord button. And let's just stop a minute so I can show you that. That's actually, the chord is actually a G dominant 9 with a suspended 4 tone. I think I'm saying this right. And it's hard for me to see. The G dominant 9 with the suspended 4 tone, as I mentioned before many times, those suspended chords generally resolved to a dominant 7 chord, a regular dominant 7. All right? I mentioned this before about the suspension chords, and they generally, but not always, resolve to a regular dominant chord. So here you see what happens is the C will resolve to the B, and the A might resolve to the G. But as I use it in this song, this chord resolves to an F major. So what happens then is, with the tones that I'm playing, because the 5th is missing, okay? The way I play it, the only thing that resolves is the G resolves to an F. That's all you get. When I play this chord here, that's this, the G dominant 9 with the suspended 4, it resolves to the F. It's a little bit different, but I think it's kind of sweet how it works out. Okay? Then I play A, so you can see it clearly, a D minor 7, and I'll use the D bass with the F major chord button. Oh, I hope I'm saying this right. But sometimes I use the D counterbass with the F major chord button. And then another chord in this song is the D minor 7 with the diminished fifth, and that's the same D bass or counter bass, depending on where your hand is on the bass side. And then the F minor chord button. And here I play a, when this chord pops up, it's a C major and G major chord button with a C bass. And you see where that's at. That's the C bass row, and then your chord buttons on the major chord row or rank. It's actually a rank. And then I play an F minor chord button with the D flat counter bass, and that D flat you can call the C sharp or D flat, doesn't matter. They're written differently, but they sound the same. Okay, that's some of the chords in there. And the I just showed you the C and G major chord button with the C bass. That's actually a C major 9. And these are the tones you get when you hold those three buttons. And that's a full C major 9. Okay? The fifth tone in that chord is not missing. Now you get sick of me talking about the fifth missing. You're tired of hearing it. But I want to show you when the fifth does show up so that you know when to expect it and when to include it in the chord. So that's that. And then here's the chorus. Now here's that C major 9 we just talked about. Here's a D minor chord button with a C bass, a G7 chord button with a C bass, and then down here is we go from a C major to a C major with the B bass. That's a counter bass. And then we do the C diminished 7 with the A counter bass and a C diminished 7 button with an E flat bass. And I'll show you that in a minute. Then the ending is very similar to the chorus. It's just a few chords. It's an easy song. It's a short song and it's an easy song. So we'll go over it here and I'll try not to take forever. So I'm sure you're familiar with the melody. It's okay, I just played the first 4 chords the way I play it. Other people don't do it this way. And I'm doing a very simple version because I expect my audience to be mostly beginners. So we're doing bum, 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 bum. These 4. Just these 4. And it's real easy. All right close together. C major with an A bass. Then E minor 7, which would be the E counter bass, and the G major button. Then I do that F bass, that G bass with the F major chord button. And that is actually the G9 with the suspended 4 that I mentioned. And it gives a kind of sweetness. Now, if you listen to it, it usually resolves to, it usually resolves to the G7. But I'm not doing that in this song. I'm going da, 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 da. So instead of resolving like this, typical, it's going to resolve to the F. It goes da, da. That sounds a little weird, but it makes for sweetness when you continue playing the verse. So let's do it again. little sweetness in there. If you listen closely, you'll hear it. So let's go back again, and then we'll pick up where we left off. Okay, that's the sweet part. Then it goes to F, G7, C major, C7, F major, oops, excuse me, F minor, and the simple version is C, A7, pinky thumb, then D minor 7, which is the D bass, and the F major chord button. Then I go down a notch to the F minor chord button. A quick. Try to do this slowly so you can see it. Let's do the whole thing again. The verse. Was sloppy, but this is one of those days where I can't play to save my life. Now let's go back to that chord run. C, A7. The easy way is ba-da-da. But I've showed you this before in a previous video. We can do this. See that little run? I've talked about that before, and in case you missed it, let's take a look at what happens to make that sweet little run. It's a very sweet thing. You're going from C major to B dominant 7 to B flat dominant 7 to A7. And I'll show it again. Da, 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 da. See it? Ba, 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 da, da, da. So what happens is you're on your C major, and then you're going to play a B counter bass. That's your next move. Watch this. Alright? And you're going to catch with your pinky, you're going to catch that F sharp diminished 7 button. Alright, you went from C major, and then the B counter bass with the F sharp diminished 7 button. That took you to the B dominant 7. Then the next is you want to catch the B flat bass button and the B flat dominant 7 button. So you go C, B, B flat 7. That's the traditional position. And then you want to go to your A counter bass, and you want to catch your E diminished 7 chord button. C, B, B flat, A. Well, let's do it again. I'll show you something that I showed you in a previous video. I'm moving with my ring finger. I'm moving up to the A counter bass, but I'm quickly slipping my pinky underneath there to make that reach. Watch. I'm kind of sliding the ring up there, and the pinky follows right behind it so you can catch it. So you can catch that with the thumb. A counter bass with the pinky, E diminished 7 button with the thumb. Again. Understand that? I talked about this progression in a previous video, and I'm going to hold this up in case you want to stop the video and look at it and see what goes on there. I have each chord marked. And I also make a note down here at the bottom that your B7, your dominant 7, is going to be a full dominant 7. Your B flat 7, because you're playing it traditionally, will not be a full dominant 7. And your A dominant 7, because you're playing it my way, will be a full dominant 7. And that's why. You can see it clearly on here why that happens like that. Okay, we got that. And then on the chorus, there's another little sweet spot. On the chorus, when you get down to here, the second line, C major with the B counter bass. Then I do the C diminished 7 button with an A counter bass, and C diminished 7 button with an E flat counter bass. And that goes like this. Instead of playing the easy version, which I showed you, okay? I showed you the easy way. Oh no, I didn't show you that yet. I'll show it now. Okay, but I want to hold this up so you can get a mental picture. I just showed you this on the chart, but I actually play this here. This is the easy way you'll hear on most recordings. So it goes like this. The chorus is that C and G major button with the C bass. Okay, it goes. That's a D minor button with the C bass. And a G7 dominant 7 button with the C bass. In other words, let's say it again here. I'm having trouble speaking. C bass with the C major and G major chord buttons. And the second one is that C bass with the D minor chord button. And then you go from the D minor down to the D7 and hold the C bass. D minor 7, G7. Now here's that run. Here comes that run. All right, this is the run here. We're not playing it the easy regular way. We're doing it my way. The little run, little bass run. I'll do that again. That was sloppy. Sorry. Then the A counter bass with the C diminished 7 button. Then the A diminished 7 button with the E flat bass button. And then you see you go right to the D. Again. And again. It's hard to really explain this clearly. I don't know how you're seeing this, but it's a nice run. And it sounds better live than it does on the video. So that's that little bass run. And then the ending is that C major 9 with the C bass and the C major and the G major buttons. And that C bass with the D minor chord button. 7 traditional. Then I see how my fingers get ready to go up there. I go to the D flat counter bass and I throw in the F minor button. I'll do the ending again. Do the ending again. Now, another ending which is sweet. I'll just quickly do this and I'll wrap it up. Another ending which is sweet is I go from C major to a D flat dominant 7 back to C major, and here's how it looks on the chart. C major, D flat counter bass, and I catch the A flat diminished 7 button. Alright, and when I get that D flat dominant 7, that's a full dominant 7 chord. You could call it a C sharp dominant 7, but it's the same thing. It sounds the same. Anyway, so here's the chart for that. And now I'll play that quickly. It's another alternate ending, little alternate. Like this. See that? I don't play well, as you know from previous videos. I really suck at actual performing. But if you practice this, it'll really sound nice, especially if you have an accordion with really nice reeds. So basically, just watch the fingers one last time, then I'll get out of here. I'll go away. That's it. Sorry I took so long. I hope you learned something, and I hope I spoke well enough for you to get the point. Thanks for listening, and good night.